Hello. So, this is going to be a guide for Kingsfield 3 Hitless, Damageless. Here, just a moment. So, my plan for this is pretty much to go through the whole game. I have save states that I can use, and I can also fast forward through things. And I'm pretty much just going to demonstrate and document all the strats that I came up with for all of the parts of the run and the general route. I don't have an exact perfect plan laid out for this whole thing, but I'm pretty much just going to explain everything as it comes up. The route is 100% glitchless, pretty much, and I am going to be using fast forward to speed through things for the purpose of this guide, but I did not use any of that for the actual run, so that's about it. I think I'm going to begin. So this you can skip. Wait for this. In this cutscene, you do need to wait and let it play out. Then you're here at the start of the game. Sorry, just give me a moment. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's all good. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we need a Sylviera key, which we're going to get from that man trap over there. There is a way to do around this wall to get around. Personally, I like going through the door, even though it's more dangerous because of this plant here. I don't know why I do it, but I like doing it that way. Anyway, you fight this, it only takes a couple hits. It should be pretty trivial. Grab the key, and that's pretty much the entire first area. You can either go around there again. I'll just do it this way. Or you can go through the door. And then we're pretty much done here. So the next area, the battleground, is a bit long, because we need to go all the way to Garnabis, get the fire magic, and then get all the way to the garrison barracks. So it takes a little bit, but it's not too bad. There's one spot that's a bit sketchy, but overall, it's pretty consistent. Okay, so here I like to equip the key here. It makes things arguably slightly quicker, but it's really not important. You can just use it straight from your inventory. Then the next thing is we're going to need to go up here. I'm going a bit fast through this, but you can slow it down, double check the route. But we need to talk to Marilyn Miller to get the charm that we're going to use on her son, which is required to get to Garnabis. And up here, skip by add. I'm just going to make a save state in case something goes wrong. Okay, this mushroom, if you just go past here this way, it can't hit you. Go to this chest and then go there, and it's really not an issue. This trap, also not an issue, just go around. And then up here, this tree here, not an issue, go around. Then some of these enemies. Most of them you can just run past. They will shoot at you, but it's really not a big deal. These two is where it gets a little weird. I like to fight these two. It's definitely optional. You don't need to, and it does take a bit of time. They do drop some experience in gold, but it really is not important, to be honest. The gold really doesn't matter, and the experience also doesn't much. The main reason I do it is because what you need to do here is you need to pick up this key and then you need to use it on this door, and then open the door and go through, and I just don't like doing that while they're behind me. But honestly, it's probably easier this way. Because especially you can hear them firing. So that way's probably easier, but I just like to kill them personally. But if you do kill them, just make sure you keep an eye on the other one. Also, I should mention, rarely you can get sniped by that one through the doorway over there, the far away one. Um, if you are fighting them, you should keep that in mind. This spot, you should go around on the right because the stool there is closer to the left. So just go around the long way here, and then down through here. We're gonna need to stop in Ed's house to grab his key. Through there. And this is pretty much just straight run down here. Okay, this spot's a little tricky. So use the key there. Then I like to cast light. It's not really necessary, but gives you a little better visibility. The main things in here are that plant and that ghost, which can both shoot at you. You kind of want to just be prepared to dodge things. Specifically, those ghosts are a problem in a few spots throughout this run, and there often isn't a great way to deal with them other than know that they're there and be ready in case they do something. And sometimes they can shoot in weird directions, and it's kind of just annoying when that happens, but usually you'll get through it just fine. So we're going to use the charm here. Takes a moment, but while you're frozen there, the game is basically paused so you can't get hit. I like to go like this so I can look. Oh, see, there was a skull. Um, and then if you turn around like that, you can sometimes see what's coming and dodge it. And then once you go through the doorway, you're pretty much safe. So something to know, when the doorway is actively closing, any door in this game, things can't go underneath it. It's basically instantly closed. The closing is just a visual. So if something shoots at me right now, it won't be able to hit me, even if it's not all the way closed. Okay, so then here we're gonna get our first of the four archmages. You can't skip these cutscenes, but it's nice to have a little break, and plus they have some cool visuals and music. Thanks, Garnbus. So he also taught us Fireball, which we actually will use throughout the run. It's pretty much the main spell we use. We don't use a ton of magic in this route. We mostly end up using the bow, uh, but it is useful to have. Okay, I wasn't paying attention. Sometimes if I'm using like save states or fast forward, I'll just get in a mode where I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. So it doesn't really reflect on the actual run, you know? Um, Usually there won't be this many things firing at you. I think it's just because of the way I was being. So here I like to open the door and then turn this way just to see if anything's firing at me, and then back out like that. Wait for it to start to close, and then don't forget to grab this key, because you'll need that key later, and if you forget to grab it, it's going to be annoying. So you have to come back here, waste some time. Okay. So then head down here, same route you came. Here, if you killed them before, one of them will have respawned. I usually like to kill that one also. Don't need to. Otherwise, wait for the door to close. That one, the door's not closing because the doors don't close if there's an enemy near them. Okay, there it's now it's closing. So this is the sort, I just don't like dealing with enemies behind me where I can't see them, but it's really not that bad. So there, take that, and then go through here. For some reason, it's being really laggy. Hopefully, it's not that big of an issue, but it's kind of annoying. Maybe I should have closed some more things, but it might get worse later. Okay, so next we're going over here, right? So this is that spot we were at earlier, and we're going to go to the right this time. This tree sometimes feels kind of sketchy, but it really isn't. You just go here and just go right there, and he can't hit you, even if he's looking at you. So then we're gonna go in here, run past, just like whatever. Nothing big there. So here is one of these choke points with the trees, and all we do is stand here until the far one is facing you. It's not even super important, just run past. It is a bit sketchy. Um, I'd recommend just testing it out to feel comfortable with it. Um, but it works most of the time. I don't really get hit here, but just like that to see he can hit you if you're just there. So you do have to run past. Okay, so these mushrooms, I tried a lot of things, but actually the strategy I end up going with for them is just to fireball them, which it takes a while for mana to regen at this level, but it should just be 2 each. You only really need to fireball one, I believe, but if you're doing one, you might as well do both. So, there, they're gone. Okay, these I actually found a nice strategy here. If you lure the front one this way, you can actually go behind it like this, and it's very, very easy. I died there a couple of times before I realized that, and so that's good to know. Use the key, the other key there, and now you're pretty much done with this area. Give me a moment, I'm gonna close some things. Maybe this will help. The lag. Need better. Okay. This area is really short. We pretty much just run straight through it. There's one spot. So, okay, so these slimes can be a bit sketchy. Uh, for now, your really only option is just to go around the corners. Eventually, when you have a bow, you can sometimes shoot them. I guess actually you could maybe hit that one with magic. It's probably not worth the time, though. I've never gotten hit to it. Um, okay, so this room, these skeletons can shoot a darkness spell, but I recommend against. I highly recommend against trying to do anything slow here other than just going for it. Partly because you can't really double back, because, well, I believe skeletons are supposed to spawn here. I don't know why they didn't. But also, if you're stuck here and you get them aggroed and then they start coming towards you, you can get yourself into pickle. Uh, but pretty much just to run straight through, so not like I just showed you, but just like this. Just don't even look at them. Just pretend they don't exist and just go quick and you'll probably be fine. I've never gotten hit there doing that, but I almost got hit there once because I was trying to be cautious and it ended up not working. Okay. So this area, I eventually determined that the best way for this area is actually to not complete this area and do a trip into Relugo first to get the bow and use that to complete this area. Because getting past the mushrooms is pretty much just RNG without a bow. So we are going to talk to Robert to grab the key. Hello, thank you. Okay. And head through here. So the route here, this place is kind of a maze. You kind of just need to memorize the route. We're going to be coming through here a few times. This way is currently blocked by that tree stump, but later on it won't be blocked after we talk to Vard, and that'll be a bit of a shortcut. But for now, we got to go around this way. This is pretty much just heading towards Verlugo. This mushroom really isn't an issue, but I like to just be safe by going in this corner and then lining up like that and then just running that. But really don't overthink it. It's not an issue at all. And then here's the path to the city. City, if you can even call it that. It's more of a little town, but so just speed through there. And then we're gonna head sort of this way. We're going to Lynn's house, which is in the whoops, don't get stuck there. It's in the southwest. So down here. There's some enemies around, so just watch out for those here, but really shouldn't be much of an issue. Sometimes they can be a bit tricky when you're leaving the house. But yeah. So first, before talking to her, you're going to need to unequip the X selector because we're going to be selling that for money. And right now, that's the only thing we have to sell. It'll give us a ton of money, though, which we will use. Buy the large bow and 99 arrows, which I'm going to speed through. And then after buying the 99 arrows, you're going to want to go here and store the 99 arrows. Hello. Just like that. And then go back here, and then you're going to want to buy 99 more arrows, and that should be good for now. Okay, and then you're going to want to go here, equip the bow, and then while you're in here, you might as well equip Bard's Key, because we're going to be using that soon. Then head out. Watch out for these enemies. I'd recommend not stalling there too long to find a good pattern. Just go for it. The longer you spend, more likely something's to go wrong, you know? That's a common theme at a few points in this run. There's some spots where if you try taking it super slow, I find it's more likely that something's going to end up weird than if you just go, but we'll get to that later. So now we're going back and we're going to actually go through this area for real. So back the way we came. I like to shoot this guy. Right now, arrows really don't need to be conservative about it. You can just use as many as you want. We'll have more than enough money to buy as many arrows as you want. And there's even a backup if you run out of money somehow. Okay, so this is back sort of near where we started. You're going to want to use the key here. And head here. To the sign and then the left. Here you need to use the key on this. And then in this hallway there can be 0, 1, or 2 of these double-headed things. Just take them out. It's really not that hard. Be aware that they can shoot. So the way the bow works... Oh, whoops. So the way the bow works, first of all, one really useful thing with the bow is normally in this game, after sprinting, you have to wait for your stamina to start regenerating. And so if you sprint, you have an extra, if you run out of stamina, you have an extra long penalty before you can attack. With the bow, there's no extra long penalty because your stamina is always empty. So that means you don't need to worry at all about sprinting when you're using the bow. And then the other thing is my cue for when I start the next shot generally is when the stamina disappears, more or less. So if you look here, stamina there, when it disappears is when you can press the button. I'm not really paying attention. That's annoying that I got hit. Luckily have some stuff that you start with. Anyway, there we go. If you're really close, you can do it really quick. The charging time only affects distance and not damage. So if you're really close, you can do it pretty quick. But obviously priority is not getting hit. And my priority is not speed, so I don't care too much about that, but yeah, if you're trying to be optimal. So we're gonna use this here and then go back the way we came. And that'll move around the tree over there. Use it here again so that we can go, oh, whoops, missed. We can go this way. Oh, this guy cannot hit you through this gap with this tree, so you don't need to worry about that. There's always, I believe, a guy here. I don't think I've ever seen him not here. I'm just gonna want to take him out. Something nice to know, I'll show you after this, but there is a gap behind me. Also, if you have magic that regenerates, you can feel free to use that also. You don't need to be conservative with that. So if you get trapped, there's this gap you can back into pretty easily, and there's never any enemies here, so if you need to keep backing up to the left, you can just do that, and then go in here to run away. That's nice to know. It is worth picking up the gold at this point, but it's not a huge deal. It's not that important, but I'll just pick it up. It is something, you know. So there's always two of these here, and these are the last two that we're gonna fight. You can hit from pretty far away with the bow also, keep in mind. I had a fireball, so just gonna use it. It speeds things up, but really I wouldn't focus on it too much. It's not really worth the hassle. And there we go. I'll grab this gold. And then use the key one last time. Then let's go talk to Vard. Hello. It's going to give us these two things. So the Eye of Icarus we'll be using a few times as our teleportation tool. And then the map we will be selling. So I like to equip the eye again. You don't need to equip anything there ever. But I just like doing it. Okay, first I'm gonna regen mana. The way I like to do that carefully is I just walk out into this bridge, straight forwards, back up until you hit the wall, because this room disappears, and then you can just turn and go around here. It's not really that big of a deal, it's just I like to do it like that, and then I don't want to fall off the bridge ever, so I like to get the nice line up, so I just teleport back, because it's free to teleport. What am I doing? So the next thing we're gonna do is go into here to get the blood herb. So this little cliff, something to know, is you need to be sprinting here. Otherwise, if I try doing without sprinting, well, this time it worked, so that's maybe a bad demonstration. But sometimes you'll just fall off and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't know why it's not happening, but yeah, like that. See, if you try being really careful and hugging the wall, yeah, that's why it wasn't, I don't know. The point is it'll never happen if you're sprinting, so it's counterintuitive because you'd think that sprinting is more risky on a tight ledge. But for this, you just want to hold sprint the whole time. This part's pretty easy. There's some of these spiders, they die in 2 hits, they're very weak. And they just shoot a thing just like the other enemies did, so it's really no different. These mushrooms, something to know, the other mushrooms can do their AoE almost instantly. These ones have a bit of a delay, so like if I go next to them, you can see they do that little wiggle before they attack, and so it makes them a lot less of an issue. This one, you can actually run past here if you turn the camera while you're running. I'll demonstrate. If you do this, you can do that. It's kind of weird. It does work, but I just like to kill it because I don't want to get stuck there. It takes a lot of hits, but arrows are not uh, important at this point. And then here, I don't really bother with those enemies because they're not really a big deal. Run past, grab the herb, and then we're going to need to go over and give it to Janin for her son Iron. You can go, actually, usually go on the right, but I guess going on the left is probably faster. The right of that big inn, I mean. So here is where Janin is. Actually, I don't know why I talked to her. You don't need to talk to her. You just go right up to her and then use the item and it'll give it to her. No need to talk. She only has one dialogue line. And then after that, we need to reload the area, which you do by going over here, back here, and then wait till you get to the long hallway, so this long hallway, and then go all the way to the end of it, the really long path. And once you get to the end, you can just teleport back and the area should be reloaded. And now if we go talk to Jamie, he should build the bridge. I'm going to show you something kind of funny, a little silly thing. So right now, if I go over here, I'm going to just look here, there's no bridge there. Now watch. World's fastest bridge builder. It's legendary. I'm going to talk to him. Now make sure you go through all his dialogue. Now normally I'd just teleport back, but just to demonstrate, in that time he just went and built this bridge. Isn't that incredible? Normally you can just teleport back. It's faster, but... Okay, so this... First of all, be careful on this bridge to make sure you're lined up. I almost fell off once, that's annoying. This mushroom here, it's one of the slow ones. You don't need to fight it. You can shoot it if you want, but you really can just run past. And we're gonna go over here behind this to grab the crystal from this chest, which I just like to use right away. And we need this in order to get back past John and the entrance to the Palace of Wind. These two things are really never an issue. You can just run past. And then we're going to go to the Cave of Shudong. This area seems sketchy. It always looks and feels kind of sketchy. I've never gotten hit here, even in practice or anything. Just gonna put a save just in case. But really, it's pretty easy. Because first, just go straight through here. You're gonna take a left, and then go into the cave. The skeletons are not even close to an issue. Don't worry about it. Run past this guy. You don't even need to think about him. And then on to the left. And through here. And into here. This is where it gets a little sketchy. So first we're gonna run past here. Don't slow down much because those masks shoot boulders and you don't want to be standing around and get hit by one of those boulders. And then also that skeleton I just ran past. Running past them is pretty easy. This guy in front of me can be tricky. He can sometimes block your way, and you kind of just gotta play it by ear or whatever. Just go with whatever happens and try to get around him. Um, he has some attacks. He has this like shove attack, but I've never actually gotten hit by it, even though it seems really sketchy. You just go here, press the button, turn around, look where he is, and it always just seems to work. And then this skeleton, go around. Something to know, corners and cliffs in this game, you really can, they're very generous. You can kind of cut them and you can even start falling and then catch yourself back on them. So I wouldn't worry about falling too much. Here you want to look down while you're crossing this bridge, because otherwise if you get to these stairs and you're not looking down, you won't be able to see anything. So you want to be already looking down by the time you get here, because if you stand around and you're too slow, you can get hit by boulders. Once you get to the bottom, you want to start looking up again and then just go through here, just like that, and then you're pretty much done. It feels a bit sketchy sometimes, but It's really very generous, and I've never had an issue with it. And now we're at what's this guy's name? Uh, Ungrund. That's his name. Ungrund, second Archmage. And then after that, I'm gonna teleport out. Okay. Save just in case. So the next thing, we're gonna have to go back to the Forest of Vard for the last time to get to the Wind Temple. And again, I'm speeding through all here with the fast forward, but you can do it normally. It's really not dangerous. So this time is the shortcut I mentioned before. Because the tree stumps are no longer here, you can just go straight through that way. And now we're back at this fountain. You're going to go straight across to where that sign is. And then these guys, so I'm just going to show you. You can just go straight around, and it's really not dangerous at all. But I like to shoot them just in case to be safe. Because, I don't know. I just like being extra safe. But again, same thing here. You can just go around and it's really easy. But if you just want to be extra safe, they do take a little bit of time to shoot, but it's really not that big of a deal. And then there you go. So wouldn't worry about that at all. Then you're gonna go in here. And then you need to talk to John to get him to unlock the door. You'll hear a little clicking sound. Listen. There's a clicking sound. Now it's unlocked. Okay, before you open this door, make sure you're ready. I'm gonna put a save here. So this is gonna be one of the first real choke points of the run. First, there's these two crooked demons here who can shoot wind magic at you, and you're going to want to be ready to dodge that right away. If you're kind of not paying attention, you just start going through here. Sometimes it can catch you off guard. That's happened to me, and then you'll just lose the run right there. So you want to just be mindful of that. And then for these two guys, you're pretty much just going to want to play it based off of what you see and just run past when you feel like there's a good opening. I'd recommend just practicing this part. Sometimes they can shoot at you well after you've run past, but I found every time they do that, for some reason, the projectiles slightly travel up, and so they'll go over your head. It looks really sketchy, but I've never had it hit me. Um, I wouldn't stall here because there's other enemies, so just run straight through. Near the end of this is where it starts to get sketchy. So I'm going to put another save here. Run straight through the middle, nothing dangerous here. These fireballs don't track, so as long as you're in the middle, you'll be fine. Up here is where it gets sketchy. There's going to be two things that shoot tracking fireballs, and technically called firestorms, I believe. And each of them can either shoot or not shoot, and you're going to have to deal with 2 rounds. So you can get 4 total to deal with, or 0 total to deal with, or anywhere in between. The worst is when you have all of them, because basically I like to dodge by going to the left of the first one. I'll show you. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna load the save because it got all messed up because I was pausing and stuff. But just look. So I like to go like that. Um, so I like to go to the right, and then so you see that time the right one didn't shoot again. Okay. That should never happen. I don't know why that happened. I moved to the side. I don't know why I did that. It's just always just go in the middle. I'm being messed up. So I like to go to the right there. For some reason that one on the right's not shooting again. Just RNG. But the sketchy thing is if he shoots again and the other one shoots again. So go to the right like that. See, I like to go to the left. I genuinely don't know what happened there. But this is gonna be something you need to practice. So I like to go to the right. Okay, now they didn't shoot. They both didn't shoot. And then just run straight around. They can still be tracking you really far, so he was still tracking me. So just keep running. I've had a few different strategies here. I don't know. I don't know why that keeps happening, actually. That never has happened to me before. Getting hit by these little ones. They have slight tracking, I believe, but very little. So like that, you can kind of do it like that. But see, so I used to have this strategy where I went around the light. Show you. Um, just because you can see what's happening better. See, that's one of the situations that's really tricky to deal with. I was trying to do a strategy I'm not used to just to demonstrate something, but normally you can go in between. See, I used to go backwards so I could see them, and then I would circle around here. But I realized you don't actually need to do any of that. But yeah. So I think we're good. One thing to know, see, that's kind of how you do it. If there's two on the second one, that can be pretty tricky, but don't do that. You need to go down the stairs. You don't need to stop sprinting. You can just go down the stairs. But I missed the stairs that time. And if you're assuming you're doing Damageless, which I am, that's a pretty dumb way to lose the run by fall damage from missing the stairs. So just don't do that. But what I was going to say is something to know for practicing is that RNG in this game is deterministic, I believe. The way it works, meaning if you load a save state and you hold down the exact same buttons and do the same thing, you'll get the same RNG. So, like for example, if I'm trying to test this and I just do this and I don't move anything and I just hold forwards, I'll get the same exact pattern every time. But if you even have slightly different inputs, that'll change the RNG. So it's just something to know for testing or for practice. And then we're gonna go in here and we get the third magic from Kalimafar. This is the wind magic. And then after that, just gonna teleport out. There you go. Okay. Um, and that I like to get magic back here. Get a little extra. You can use fireballs and various things throughout that whole section if it comes up, like the trees, if you're killing them. Use them freely, it really doesn't matter. They're not expensive. But you probably won't end up using many anyway, so it's not a big deal. Anyway, so next we're gonna go talk to Lynn again. And this time we're going to be going through the path of poison, so we need to buy the poison-resistant gear, as well as restock on arrows. So we're going to sell the map for more money. Gives us a ton of money. Then we're going to want to buy all of her silver stuff, so it's the silver ring, the silver boots, and the silver arms. That's all of her silver stuff. The gray helm is not silver. I mean, it looks silver, but it's not one of the silver things. I like to buy this sword. I never have ended up using it, but in this run, we have the bow, which is finite arrows, and magic, which is finite MP. And I like to just have something so that I'm paranoid of the idea of being in the final boss, and I literally have no magic and no arrows left, and I'm hitless, but I literally have no way of dealing damage. Like, that sounds horrible. So I don't know. I like the idea of having something to deal damage, just in case. And we have excess gold. So I like to buy the sword, even though I never end up using it, and then just restock arrows to 99. And that should be it for now. Yeah. Um, you're going to be buying a bunch of moonstones later. I'd just say don't buy it now because we need enough money to restock arrows the next time we come here. So I'd just call it there. Teleport out of the house. You can just leave by walking, but if you remember, there's a bunch of enemies around her door, so I like to just teleport out. It's a bit safer. Go across the bridge, uh, and then go into here, and he'll have moved. Joe will have moved by now because we gave Jen the blood herb and reloaded the area. That's the trigger for that. Something to know, if you ever, for whatever reason, are low on gold, you can come here, assuming he's already moved. And I believe is it over here? Is it over here? I think it's over here. Yeah, right here. You can open this up and get this key. We don't use it anywhere, and so you can sell it for a ridiculous amount of money. You don't need to do that, but if it comes up that you need more money, you bought the wrong thing or something, you can just grab that super easy and then just sell it. You don't need it for anything else. Okay, now we're at the Path of Poisons. Before you go in here, make sure you don't forget to put on your silver stuff. All three of these. And then also, you're going to be switching your magic to Wind Cutter because it does more damage against the Alchemine, which we are going to fight. I originally ran past it as my strategy because fighting it takes a little bit and it seems kind of sketchy, but I found that fighting it is actually a bit easier because you're in control and you can actually look at her. Running past her and having to open the door, wait for that, although you can't see the fireballs. If you get multiple homing fireballs, it's basically just RNG death, and I don't like that, so I just like fighting her instead. I might show both ways just to demonstrate you can just run past. And if you do run past, I'd recommend teleporting out instead of running past again. But if you do kill her, you don't need to teleport out because she's no longer there blocking the way, so you can just run. The start of this area is pretty straightforward, just run straight through. These slimes, if they're out of the way, you can just run past them. But if they are in the way, just shoot them with some arrows. See, like this one? I could probably just go around, but it's only 2 arrows, so just shoot it, why not? And then this door is where we're going. Same thing for this slime. Okay, so right here is the first of this type of enemy. For these, mm, just a moment, sorry. Okay, so for these enemies, you can shoot them to kill them, uh, but the way they work, every time they shoot, it seems, or sometimes other times, it's kind of confusing how it works, but they seem to have a chance of just despawning. And so basically what I like to do, because I like just focusing on one thing, it's the easiest way. Go where you can see them, they're kind of hard to see, and just hold down the sprint button. Just hold it down, and then, okay. the moment you see it shoot, you just go to the side, and then it'll just disappear. And then there's two of them. So shot shot again right away. It was weird, but then just make sure you have room to move to the side, and then you should be good. Um, I like doing that better than shooting them because shooting them you have to deal with shooting and strafing, and then you're probably not sprinting, and then it's just all that. This guy sitting here, you don't need to worry about at all. Just run past. Okay, I'm gonna make a save here because this is before the alkaline. This you should know. You don't need to go in here, but you should know that you can back up into here and there's no enemies. The reason I say that is when you approach, if you first approach and she's facing you, I like to just run away or judge depending on what she does, because trying to fight her or run past with one of the homing fireballs at the start is just not a great thing. Ideally, you want to prevent her from doing any homing fireballs if you're fighting her. So I'll just show you. It could be a bit slow if you do the. Okay, so here, so there. Okay. So first of all, there she was not looking at me, so I just ran up. If she was looking, I might have considered backing off. If you back off all the way to the wall, I believe the homing fireballs just barely can't hit you. But I like to just be safe by also going to the side a bit and then backing up into that corridor. Don't back so far that you go into the slime, but you're pretty much good over there. Anyway, so she has two attacks. One involves sticking her leg out and then casting the little fireball that doesn't really track and just hits the wall. And then the other one is more like you'll see it. It's like with her chest, and she casts the big homing one. They can hit the wall and then they go away if they hit the wall, but otherwise they can track you insanely well. And if that happens, you might just want to consider running away and just starting over. I believe if you run far enough away to that corridor, it'll sort of despawn her. And then I believe that does reset her HP, but really just staying alive is a priority, of course. So I'm just going to demonstrate this fight. You can use wind cutters, that's why we equipped it for this. Um, they do more damage than the fireballs, but I wouldn't focus on it. I'd focus on prioritizing sprinting. Also prioritize not getting caught in between her and a wall, because that'll get you. And then other than that, try to never be in front of her, but if she's turning, if you just run in front of her to the other side, if you're quick, it almost never will trigger an attack. You'll see what I mean. So you just need to go around, but just go quick. Just don't stay in front of her. So if you watch here, I'm on the side. I can do that. That time it did trigger an attack, actually. I'm not even gonna attack, just to demonstrate. See, if I do that, she didn't attack, but now she's turning the other way. So now she's confused for a minute. And you can kind of just do this sort of zigzag thing. Like that. So if okay, that's the homing fireball attack. I think I hit the wall, but yeah. So it's up to you what to do for that, but at least just know about it, and know your options, and then just do testing to find out what you like. Yeah, that's pretty much the strategy, and then you can just start shooting. Um, so that was a bad situation. You don't want that. So you can just run away like that. She did another one, and she can just keep doing them. And dealing with multiple of these can be bad unless you're just running away straight in one direction. I'm gonna do this. This might not be the best idea in a run, but part of the problem is sometimes with the humming ones, you end up having to guess where they are, and that's never a good thing. And something like that was not good. So in this situation, I probably should just run out. Oh, and yeah, I forgot. So they last a long time, and they'll still be chasing you. So that time I forgot it was still chasing me. So let's just try this again for better demonstration. Don't get stuck in the walls. It takes a lot of arrows, but not insanely many. Oh, whoops. Sometimes that happens to me because I have a controls remap to joysticks where I'll accidentally look up at the ceiling and it's really annoying. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. That's annoying. Oh, okay, it looks like it hit the wall. I'm gonna try to go back in. Don't do another one. Don't do it. Oh, come on. I don't think that hit the wall, so I need to run away. It looks like it did. Um, yeah. This fight can sometimes be very clean, or sometimes it can be a bit of a mess. On my successful run, it was actually very sketchy. I almost lost it right away to ironically, the non-homing fireball. Um, but somehow it went over my head, kind of like I mentioned in the Palace of Wind, so I was lucky. Anyway, um, there's the fight. Grab this fire crystal and use it. We use fireballs at some points, and this will give us a little extra fire damage boost, so it's nice, but it doesn't really make a difference. I'm coming here, and the reason we're here is to get the boots. Um, I'm going to save here, then load this save state. Just to demonstrate the running past strategy. We'll see if I get it first try. Try to be quick about this. Don't run past those like that. I'm just trying to... Okay, I got darkness. That's annoying. I'm just trying to get to her quick so I can demonstrate. Okay, so... Oh, I'm glad I did this because I remembered something. See, right now, if she fires at me during that, it's really sketchy. You can back off and try to go around in circles by the door and stuff, but yeah, it's kind of weird. So the thing I remembered is her two attacks also do make different sounds, and that's nice to know about if there's ever a situation where you can't see her and she attacks. You can know if there's one of the homing ones. The homing ones are more of a whoosh sound, like the so that's the homing one. And then the non-homing ones, the quick ones, are more of like a littler sound, more of a sound. So let's just watch her. You'll see what I mean. That's the whoosh sound for the homing one. Now let's see her other one. See, that's the non-homing one, the ch. So that's more useful to know if you're trying to run past her, because then you can judge what to do based off the sound you hear. Um, but yeah. Okay, I think that should be good. So I'm going back to my save state where she's already dead. These ghosts don't respawn here, so you can just run past, not worry about anything. Grab the gold. Just a moment. Well, thank you, could hear that. I just got jump scared because whenever Twitch raids and I have it paused, it unpauses, and then suddenly I have Twitch open and it always startles me. Okay, so now we're gonna head here. Don't equip the boots yet because we still need the silver boots. So if you equip the boots, you'll get poisoned. Something to know, if you have the silver stuff, you can stay in the poison as long as you want, and you won't get poisoned. So don't worry about being quick there. Okay, now we're through the poisons, so now we're gonna equip the Aquarian boots. So you can see the bridges. Now it's time for Lake Noah. I don't know what that sound is. I hear it every time I come here, and I don't ever know what it is. So if you know what that is, tell me. You didn't hear it properly because I was in fast forward mode, but yeah, I don't know what it is. Okay, here you're gonna want to talk to her. Blah, 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 blah. And then you're gonna want to go up to her and give her the herb. if you accidentally eat it instead of giving it to her, you do have two. But just make sure you give it to her instead of eating it, just by being right next to her. And then from here, first we're gonna be setting it. This thing is kind of glitchy to interact with sometimes, but just gotta press a bunch. First, we're gonna be setting it to gray, and by that I mean put gray on the top, just like that. Gray is on the top, and then head out here. This area is not too bad. I'm gonna make a save. It's not too bad. These tree guys that shoot the water magic, you got to strafe, but the first one's not bad. Second one usually doesn't do much of anything either. Don't forget that things are pretty lenient, but you can still fall off. It's just kind of lenient. Like that. I did that on purpose to demonstrate. These two, I like to go backwards so I can see what they're doing, but I actually did lose a run to that from falling off the bridge. So just be careful. But I like to do it like this. That way you can see. Oh, they hit each other. Okay, here. So this is where the portal to Zool and the water magic is. But if you go straight in there, here I'm going to demonstrate. So I'm going to save. If I get him to fire magic at me or something, do something. No, I just want to demonstrate. Okay, so he's aggroed. Now let's say, okay, I go in here. Well, that missed. Okay, I don't know if this is going to work as a demonstration. If I go in here and I go through this little cutscene, after the cutscene, I won't be able to move for a couple seconds, but the game is not paused. So he can still attack me, and the water balls can still travel through the air and hit me, and I can't do anything about it. So I don't know if it's going to happen this time. See, I can't move right now, but he can still shoot at me. Okay, so it did. I would have gotten lucky that time, but see right there, I would be stuck here watching it come at me and not being able to move, and that's annoying. It's an annoying way to lose a run. So what I do instead, um, also when you equip the Aquarian boots, you can also equip the fireball again. We're going to be using that for the rest of the run because everything is weaker to fire than wind that you would ever be shooting at. Anyway, so I like just stand here and just shoot him, and it's pretty easy. So one thing to know, you can do it without shooting him because sometimes his AI will get weird and like kind of de-aggro and just stare at the wall for like ever. But then I've had him re-aggro and I just never trust it. But if he dies, then you know he can't re-aggro. So, takes a little bit, but not too long. I keep missing. But yeah, just keep doing this. He can sometimes shoot at you depending on what he's doing, but if he does that, just strafe it. Don't accidentally walk off the edge. Have a general sense of the area, and then he'll die. I recommend you get a general gist of where you are. Don't die from running into this pole. You can also use it to block attacks. Also, don't walk too far over there because you can aggro other ones. Save. I believe if you go over here, so you can get like this guy aggroed and then he can hit you when you're in here. I'm pretty sure I've had that. So just don't go over there. Stay over here. But now that that guy's dead, I should be good to just go in here and then... There's Zool, get the water magic, and now you have all four. And at this point, I like to call this the halfway point of the run, because now you have all the magic and your only goal is just to get to the castle and finish the game. Of course, you need the magic to get the Broken Moonlight Sword, in case you're not aware of that, of why exactly you need the magic. There's a force field around the Moonlight Sword, and it pushes you back if you don't have all the magic. Kind of like Dark Souls 2 in a way, with the soul memory thing, or the Four Lord Souls. I believe you can just get magic stats other ways, but the intended way is also the easiest and fastest. Okay, so we're going to actually well, I could do this in other order, but the order doesn't matter. I'm gonna first whoops. I'm gonna first grab my MP just so I have max. And then we're gonna be going over here to Lynn's for the last time. This is the last time we're gonna be going in the shop in the game, so get whatever you want. She recognizes you for some reason. I don't know. You're supposed to be childhood friends. I don't know why it takes the fourth time for her to recognize who you are. Anyway, it's kind of silly, but we love Lynn, of course. It's just a little silly. You're going to want to, or I mean, what am I saying? If you did see, you can sell this for 12,000. So if you do need extra money, you can sell this for 12,000. You don't need to, though. It's just something to know about. Anyway, we're going to restock arrows. And then after that, we should be good on everything. So now we're going to spend the rest of the money on these moonstones. Technically, it's cheaper to buy from Tim Lindquist, the guy in Lake Noel, but there's no reason to not just buy it here. It's just quicker because you're already here. And if you forget, that's going to be really annoying if you forget to buy them because you're going to do stuff again. And like 13 is way more than enough. You really only need 2 or 3. So, yeah, just buy those and then you're pretty much set. I'm gonna teleport out one more time so I don't have to deal with the monsters by your house. And then I like to go here and we're gonna put the silver boots back on. And then since we're done teleporting for the rest of the game, I just like to put on the moonstones for now. One thing, I'll mention this again later probably, but I always recommend don't use moonstones, like, even if you have it equipped, don't use it while you're doing stuff, while you're strafing or dodging or anything in the middle of combat. But, thank you. But if you do that, sometimes it can just mess you up. So make sure you're safe when you use it, even if you're out of combat. Especially because the button press, at least on the controller I'm using, is kind of awkward for that. So I've had a moment where I almost lost a run because I did that. Just make sure you're safe when you use that. There's no like animation or anything, it's instant, just something to watch out for. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna go back through here. So, okay, something important to know. For the rest of the run, we have no way of restocking arrows. And the final boss takes a lot of arrows. You will have extra left over to work with, but do not be excessive for the rest of the run at this point with arrow use, because you will run out, and you don't want that to happen. However, since we have so many moonstones, you will never run out of magic, so it's a lot slower and more tedious, but feel free to kill stuff with magic if it's safe. Just don't waste arrows. It's not the biggest deal, but like these slimes, if you want to kill them, for example, or like the ones here, just do it with a few fireballs. Because these slimes can be weird with their hitboxes, so like if you're really worried about it, just 3 fireballs should take it out. See? Also, gold doesn't matter at this point in the run. You won't be buying anything else because you're done shopping the whole run. So don't even bother picking it up unless you want to because it's shiny. Okay, so now we're out of there. We're gonna want to put the Aquarian boots back on. The bridges. Make sure you don't forget to put your silver boots back on, otherwise you will get poisoned. And then come up here. Zul will be gone, but now you can just open the door freely, which is annoying because it means it closes behind you. We're going to want to switch it to the dark purple one, which means you're going to go all the way around -1. Like that. And by that I mean dark purple's on the top, or maybe it's blue. I don't know, it looks purple to me. and then go here. Just follow the bridges. In terms of the route here, you really just follow the bridges. Um, because they're pretty linear. So this is the same as before, but instead of going straight, you turn left. And then go across this island. Be careful here. This part can be a bit tricky, kind of stressful. Bit like that. I did that on purpose to demonstrate, but like it's very generous. So you can kind of cut the corner if you need to. This guy can be tricky also, because he'll shoot you, but that's really the only thing to know. Um, this guy, so those guys can shoot you, but if you're just running, they'll miss. This guy, don't worry about, because he's actually friendly. He has a name. Mel Morris is his name, I believe. This is untranslated for some reason. I don't know if they forgot about it, but I believe it just translates to like sound effects, like onomatopoeia. It's not even language. So, this is a silly guy. I don't know. The lore for him with the truth mirror is really weird. You can figure that out on your own. He's prime example of the translation studio being weird. Anyway, okay, whoops, I just wasted an arrow. Remember, I'm distracted because I'm talking, but don't forget to be careful with your arrow use. You can use arrows for something like this. I've sort of have it built into the run, so that like you can use arrows to kill these things and still be fine, but not much more than this. This mushroom is one of the only things you have to kill to beat the game because you literally just can't go around it. It's funny, it's like the only enemy other than the final boss that you have to kill. Anyway, so kill those. You can take out the spider too. You can use magic fireballs or whatever too if you want to save arrows, but it doesn't matter. I wouldn't necessarily bother with these last two unless you want to. You don't want to get stuck here, but like maybe I'll take him out with some fireballs. Don't shoot. Wait, he's still alive? These guys take a few fireballs. I don't even know if I've ever done this. Yeah. So you save some arrows, but not a big deal. Okay. Don't be too scared of the arrow count. It's okay if you waste some, but just don't be too excessive, right? Okay, this area is super short, but pretty sketchy, especially in one spot. I found the best way possible, I believe, but it's kind of tricky. So this room is empty. Don't open those chests. Don't get curious because, well, if you don't listen to me, you'll find out the hard way. Just kidding. Anyway, though, so here, the way I like to get past this first one is pretty easy. I go to this chest. Can't hit you if you're here. I wait for it to be there, and then I kind of just go in between. Just kind of line up, and then just walk in between. I like to run to be quick, but they can't hit you if you're just in between them. And then these two can't hit you. And then I go to the barrel. Now this is the tricky part. I'm gonna put a save here so I can do it a couple times. First, I like to line up like this, and just kind of go until it sort of like covers almost like the whole screen like this, like on the left side. If you go too far, obviously you'll get hit, so you gotta be careful. But right about here. Then once I feel like the lineup is ready, actually I'm gonna put a save here instead. Once I feel like the lineup's ready, I hold sprint. You can just hold it even if you're not moving. And then right when it gets to you is kind of when you want to go because there's a bit of a delay. So like right there, and there you go. Now something to know: if your lineup is too much like this, you can get caught on the wall. You can still make it past, but it's extra sketchy. Uh, the timing on this is pretty precise, especially if you have a bad lineup. Like if you're a little further back, like this, like. Okay, I'm not doing a good job at demonstrating it being inconsistent, or well, it's not inconsistent, but see like that. Just be careful. That's the point. But it should be good. That's really the only hard part here. And then you're gonna want to turn them off just so you can grab the power fruit from this barrel. It'll give you slightly extra damage, make the final fight a little shorter. It's not a big deal, but it's something, you know, better than nothing. Then go through here. There's some slimes here, but they're never really anything to worry about. So just run past. And now we're kind of at the sketchy part of the run where everything kind of feels sketchy. Particularly we're at Kason, which this area is very sketchy and there's nothing really to do about it. The main thing is just don't get lost because sometimes there's this one time I got lost at the start of here in a live run. It was bad. So go to this farmland, kind of hug the left wall, and then here's where we're gonna go. So we're gonna want to be aiming towards first a well and then a bridge. So just kind of go straight on. And then once you see the well, you want it kind of like on your right, in between the two wells, and then on the bridge to the left of this guy. And kind of just cut like as quick as you can. And as you'll run by as these guys are spawning, as they can't really do much. And just kind of stay by the river. Now something to know here. When you get to this house, there'll be these ghosts on your left. They can shoot at you. Normally, you can just run past, but if they happen to shoot in front of you, sometimes you'll get into a spot where you're going to get hit unless you stop. So just make sure you're looking at them, and if there's something that you're going to run into, you can just pause. You can just stop moving. And it's the same thing for here. So you can just keep an eye out and if there's something in front of you, just make sure you don't run into it. Whoops, gotta open the door. So then go through here. Then there's gonna be two more of these guys, which is actually the same guys, but you want to just do the same thing. You can shoot these maybe with a bow or fire or whatever, but I like to just do it that way. Now he's gone. Careful, I didn't like that. Those things, the hitboxes are not too bad, but just careful. Make sure you're on the side though, because if you're in the middle and you shoot, you can't strafe because if you're in the middle and it's here, even if you go against the side, it can still hit you, regardless of which side you go on. It can kind of just like cover the entire room. So just make sure you're on the side so that you can strafe. And there's only two of them, so that's just deal with it that way is my personal way. This guy, you can ignore and run past, but I've had some sketchy moments. But if you just stand here, he literally cannot come over here. And there's zero enemies anywhere over here. So you can just stand here and just fireball him, and it doesn't take too long. Okay, there we go. In here, talk to Tony. You're gonna want to get an Orlodon's pick. And then go back through here. Things will still be dead, so you don't need to worry about that. Put a save just in case. Okay. Now here, so for this part, first of all, watch out for any miscellaneous projectiles, but also that head eater right there, that plant guy, because he can kind of catch you by surprise. You're gonna want to aim for in between these gravestones. And then I originally was going to the right of this house, but I found going to the left is actually better. Because there's like no ghosts over there. All the ghosts are on the right of this house. There are some of the tree guys that shoot the water, but I've never really had an issue with them. Kind of can just run past. Uh, and then watch out for this mushroom, but just kind of go to the right of it, and you want to get to this door. Um, Something to know, you, I believe, I'm gonna make a save here so I can demonstrate. There's ghosts over there. They can't hit you if you're here. They can't reach you. But if you're opening the door, you're gonna get pushed back a bit, and I believe they can get hit you they can hit when you're getting they can hit you when you're getting pushed back. So just try to stay close to the wall as much as you can and hopefully you don't get hit. when you go in, be prepared because there's gonna be a ghost that can shoot the green skulls that can hit you. It can shoot you right away, so just be prepared for that. We're gonna be shooting the ghosts with arrows in here, and they each only take one arrow each. So as long as you see them turn red, you can basically assume they're dead. So I'm just gonna demonstrate right here. It's kind of invisible, but right there is the first one. See it? That's the one you gotta watch out for the most when you first enter. Then shoot the one right here. I missed. Okay. Then there's gonna be some on the sides here, I believe. So just right now you're safe, completely safe. You're gonna just want to run, and then here there's gonna be one of these despawning ghosts. So go here in this corner, right for me to attack. Then just go like that. See if he's despawned. He is. And then here is the third ghost to shoot. And watch out for these skulls. Just constantly be ready to back away or dodge or strafe. Then over here is the fourth one. Uh, right now you're completely safe from everything except this ghost. So you don't need to worry about anything else. And then last ghost is here. And same thing, this ghost is the only ghost that can hit you if you're standing here. Assuming you killed all the others. So with that route, it's pretty safe. This next spot is kind of tricky. Um, I've found the best way is just going for it. There's a bunch of these ghosts here that can do the darkness spell. I'm just gonna stand here to demonstrate. If you try being too cautious, you can sometimes end up with a weird situation that feels really sketchy. I just recommend going for it. It seems to always work for me. Just kind of book it. And now you're pretty much at the end of this area. Um, Something I've kind of been meaning to test that I never got around to it is this guy. So when you use the Orladon's pick here, he becomes alive like an enemy, and I normally just go around him, but it always feels kind of sketchy. So I wonder if you could kill him with fireballs, just like the guy near Tony. Um, I wouldn't want to go over here because there's those guys. I don't know about his aggro range versus the ghosts. Maybe I'll just test it now. Because I'm here. Might as well. Something to know. Be very careful when you use the pick. Make sure you're right up against him, because if you use the pick when you're not against him, the run's basically over. Oops. Because then you no longer have a pick and you no longer can get through. So use it, and then um, I'm going to test this. So let's see. Oh, I see. Okay, it looks like he can't get over here. So now you can just come over here, and it should be safe. And I'm at zero magic. I'm gonna use a moonstone. Just remember, don't get hit because you were distracted from using a moonstone. I know I keep saying that, but it almost happened to me a couple times. So okay, so new strategy unlocked. I wish I'd known about that before. I never got hit there, but it always felt a bit sketchy. Okay, this next area is short and pretty easy, but it also always feels a little sketchy. Um, I don't think I've ever gotten hit here really, but okay. This first part, we're gonna want to hug the left. There's these two guys. They never really do much, though. They might shoot at you a little, but it's not anything to worry about. This part is a bit sketchier because they're close. So you're gonna want to basically go going perpendicular to them, and just kind of, if they shoot, you'll just kind of strafe automatically. You kind of just want to go at an angle here. With this part, be careful. If you go too far left, you'll run into the wall and then you'll be not moving. And then if you get shot at, you won't be strafing, and that's not good. Um, I'm assuming you can get shot at here. I don't actually know that for sure. I'm gonna make a save to test. But if you go right a little too much, you'll fall into here. You can sprint out up. You can sprint up out of here, but it's a little slow. which that feels sketchy too. So you want to go right down the middle. I'm going to demonstrate. So if I go left here, you'll get stuck here, and then you get shocked like that. So you don't want that. If you go too far right, you'll fall down here, and then you got to go up here, which always feels really scary. That's the fastest way to go up, but I don't like that either. So the best way, just go right in the middle carefully and don't fall, and then go along these trees. And then you pretty much just go around, and you're pretty much good here. Okay, those can go through the trees. That's good to know. I wasn't sure about that. But um, the only other thing I'd mention is here, assuming you're also doing Damageless like I am, uh, if you go off the edge here and fall, I didn't actually demonstrate it, but if you fall, you will take some fall damage. That's a really dumb way to lose a run. So just make sure you actually go around and into the stairwell. And then that's that. And now you've arrived at the Passage of Death, which originally I thought was going to be the hardest part of the run, and it was, but I've actually found some good strategies for it, and now it's pretty good. It's still a pretty tricky area for some various reasons, particularly the start, but I've gotten it pretty good. So originally, actually I put the save here. Originally the strategy was to go here first, and you can get past this by going in the secret wall on the left. It's kind of tricky, but it's pretty consistent once you know how to do it. But I actually found a different strategy that makes it more consistent, but to do it we need to turn off that saw blade. So we need to go through these 4 traps. This, you're going to want to practice a bunch, because these things have very wacky hitboxes. First of all, don't be near the wall. If you're touching the wall, they can get you while they're still closing. I'm just about to save here so I can demonstrate. Like that. See, it was completely closed, but I still got hit to it. So don't do that. You want to be a little against the wall. And then the other thing is, I find the main danger is from going too far. So you want to be kind of here. And there's different strategies to where you look. But it's really up to you. I find that going faster can actually be easier. Actually, did I say there's 4? I guess there's actually only 3. So you're gonna wanna test this bunch. I actually prefer to be on this side because I prefer to go when they're close to it, and I don't like moving around too much. So actually, no, I guess that would be counterintuitive. I don't know. The one thing I'd say is don't go too early. You have more than enough time to get through. It's not really a matter of time. So just make sure it's all the way retracted by the time you go. If you're sprinting especially, you'll have more than enough time. Really the issue is trying to line yourself up between them. That's the hard part. Anyway, so you want to go past, then open the door here, flip the thermostat to turn off the saw blade, but that does not turn these off, so you're going to want to do it again. Actually, I think I like being on this side so I can be farther away a little more. Don't forget about it and accidentally go too far. Be slight here so you don't run into it. And then pretty much just go, and then line yourself up with that one. Go kind of like that, don't go too close, and then just go. Okay. So now you're done with that. The rest of this is actually pretty easy. So we're going to be killing the skeletons with fireballs. One thing to know, their yellow attack in particular, the paralyze attack, is a really big hitbox. It's bigger than it looks, so be very wary of that. when you go down this hallway, make sure you're on one side or the other. You never want to be in the middle, for the same reason I described in the house in Caisson. If you're in the middle, you won't have room to strafe. So you want to be on one side or the other. So I'm just going to go on this side. And also, make sure you let your stamina regen before you go, so you're just ready. And the last thing is prioritize not getting hit. If you miss, doesn't matter. If you waste time, it doesn't matter. If you get hit, that matters. So look, you just want to stand here and just keep shooting it. Just be patient. Sometimes he'll dip behind the corner, which is annoying, but really just... sometimes you might miss, but remember you have 13 moonstones. And this is really the only thing you're going to be using magic for. More or less. If it gets in a sketchy spot like that, I didn't trust it, you could just back up. Just sprint away. Now you're gonna have to wait for your magic, because I sprinted, but, So the reason I deactivate the saw is if you try killing him without deactivating the saw, then you can't use this hallway. This hallway is extremely useful for this, because it lets you get far away. Otherwise, you have to do weird circular ground strategies. I tested lots of different things before I came up with this, and trust me, they're very sketchy strategies, and none of them were comfortable, and I hated them all. So this is much better than any of those. He's being particularly annoying right now, by hiding behind the wall, but there he goes. They're a bit tanky with these fireballs, but didn't exactly love that. But yeah, there we go. Got him. You don't need the gold, but get it anyway if it's shiny, you know. This one you don't need to kill, but it's very easy to kill. I just do it. If you go in the corner over there, he can't hit you. Something to know, if he's near the door, it won't close. But if he walks away from the door, it'll close. Nothing can go through when it's closing, like I said earlier at the start of the game. It doesn't matter, as I'm using Moonstone. Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is not getting hit. If it closes, it's a few seconds of time loss, who cares? Right? Don't try to force it to not close or anything. Just be patient. Sometimes it'll be really annoying. You'll hide behind the wall and constantly the door will be closing and opening and closing. It's better than trying to circle around and do dodge while you can't see him and stuff. I got pretty good at some other strategies for this guy, but for both of these, I had a whole strategy where I came in here and did this, all without killing either. I got pretty good at it, but man, was it sketchy. Okay, so now it's deactivated. This next one you don't have to kill, but it's so easy, I just like to. Just be safe. It's pretty much the same. He usually doesn't attack at first. You have such a big hallway here, so strafing is super easy. Just remember the yellow one has a kind of big hitbox. You could, in theory, also add some arrows to this, but remember, arrows, you don't want to waste too many. So you could use a few if you're really worried about it, but you don't want to run out in the final boss. Okay, this part, stick to the right, and you can just run past this guy, no problem. To the left, you can just keep your eye on this guy, he's not really a problem, and just go around here. This door that I just ran past, it'll close behind me. If I turn around, I can show you. If you stand there when it closes, it can hit you. So don't stand there for any reason. Then here, get your bearings, and then you're gonna want to open this. Save here. This. Actually, let me just test to make sure. Yeah, so you can get hit by that. It's pretty easy to avoid. But I just wait until it's not there, and then you're gonna have the guy right here too. It looks kind of sketchy, but frankly, this part's really easy. I'm gonna get the same RNG again because I got the save right there. It's too close, but um, you can just run backwards here to keep your eye on this guy just to make sure he doesn't hit you while you're running. Like if he does that, you can avoid it, but don't get stuck on the chair, the creepy rocking chair that's there. And then you're done with the area. Next area is Hill of Prayer, and I kind of compare it to Kason, but even worse. This area is kind of RNG. Things can shoot you in your blind spot, they can shoot ahead of you randomly, and it can be weird. Usually won't happen, but you just got to be constantly staring every direction, ready to dodge something. You could, in theory, have a really slow strategy where you slowly take out each and every one of the ghosts with magic, I suppose. But honestly, I find I feel like if I'm gonna do that, I'm more likely to mess something up and get hit by something I didn't notice than if I just run through it as fast as I can. So I'm just gonna show you that, but you can kind of try to come up with your own slow strategy to be consistent if you want. Anyway, first you just want to run through here, stay in the middle, keep an eye out. There's these two ghosts here. Hopefully they don't attack. Usually works out just fine. Actually, make a save. Then you want to kind of go through the forest here. Ideally, the ideal thing is to stay as far away from the ghosts as possible and see them. If you're close, they can just attack instantly and hit you right away, and you don't even have time to dodge. And if you can't see them, obviously you can't dodge. You're going to want to talk to Yvette. That's her name? Yeah, Yvette Binns, I believe. And make sure you exhaust all her dialogue. This seems like the last dialogue, but you also have to get the take good care of yourself, otherwise she won't die. And you need her to die, unfortunately, to get the key. So just make sure you don't need to talk to her again like I just did. I don't know why I did that, but just make sure you get to that take care of yourself line. Once I didn't, and it was annoying. It was kind of scary. And then this part, also kind of sketchy. Gonna want to go through here. There are some ghosts scattered about here. Just kind of stay near the wall. Just constantly keep your eyes peeled for any random skulls. There's a skeleton that you hear spawn, but you don't need to worry about it. Just keep running. Here you can grab a magic refill. You might use some fireballs on the final boss depending on your strategy. I ended up not with the strategy I ended up going for in the end, but that ends up being up to you ultimately. Anyway, down through here you're gonna want to go, and then you get to her grave. Forgot I have the fast forward. And grab her key. I'd recommend equipping that right away before you forget the key of the corridor. This is the one thing where I would highly recommend having it equipped here in the button rather than in your inventory. You'll see why later. But you can equip it later, but I just do it as soon as possible so you don't forget. Okay. Now we're like halfway through this area. Again, it's sketchy, but it works most of the time. And if you get hit, it's probably going to be near the end. Okay, so this part, next we need to get the Moonlight Sword. I like to kind of just go in the middle. And just keep your eye out for things constantly. And it is a bit RNG. Just kind of judge. I went on the right this time. You can also go more in the middle or sometimes in the left. I believe in my run, I actually went way on the left, more than I'm used to. You can see that in my successful run. When you pick this up, the game pauses, so you can sort of use that as a breather. And then grab it, turn around. I like to just back up and get my bearings, and then I like to kind of hug this wall here. And my recommendation, go, but the moment you see a skull in front of you like that, be ready to stop. Like I just showed you, like I just did. So just go, don't stop, but if you have a skull right in front of you, oops, be ready to stop. If your game is laggy at all, you might get some lag here. So this door, I like doing it like that and then going off to the side, looking and going through. I did get hit there once and lose a run. It was kind of sucked, but it actually was to something I did see, but it didn't judge correctly. So just try to look around as closely as you can and be careful. That's the end of the area though, so if you get past there, you're pretty much good. I could do it more times, but there's nothing really to show you. It's more just hopefully you don't get shot at, and if you do, just avoid the projectile. Now this will give you a breather before the final sort of gauntlet. I lost way too many runs in this next area, more than it deserves. It's not really all that hard, but I'd recommend practicing it a lot. I wouldn't even say it was nerves. I don't even know why I lost so many. It just happened. It was different things every time too. So, first thing is there's gonna be three enemies, and they have two attacks. One of them is sort of a crystally attack, and the other one is the slow attack. The slow one, sort of like a white beam, it looks like the skeleton's yellow paralyzed beam. That one also has a pretty big hitbox, so try to steer very clear of that. It can kind of hit you when it doesn't really seem like you were super close, so just make sure you go way to the side of that. So I'm going to demonstrate this part a few times. I kind of judge it based off of what I see. Start on the right, so the first guy can't hit you. Then the second guy, you're going to want to go and then strafe. And then here you can either strafe to the right or left. Depending on what he does, you can do either. So I'll show you again. That time I felt like going to the right. I don't know how to explain why I choose what I do. I just kind of on instinct, but yeah. I can do it. So what's funny about this is I can do this spot like 100 times in a row, but I lost like multiple runs here, I believe. So just I don't know, like that right there, that almost hit me. Like if I was slightly less to the left, it would have hit me. So that's what I'm talking about. That one you want to be strafe as much as you can. This next part is actually really easy. Just go all the way down the side and then just go around the back of him. That's the easiest way to do that part. Now this part, sort of like that first part, it's a little easier because there's only like one or two, but it's RNG, I believe, where they spawn. And so it can be a bit, I think it's RNG which ones spawn, so it can make it a bit more tricky to plan for, but you pretty much just you want to go in front, so you want to go in front of them so they don't shoot at an angle, because if they shoot at an angle, that's bad. But then you want to go to the side, like right when you get close to them. So that's the best way I can explain it. Kind of like I just demonstrated there. That was actually a good good demonstration. The invisible wall here is what we're going to be opening. It's right before the skeleton, so know that. Also know that this guy I'm looking at, you can't see because it's behind the pause thing, but he can shoot at you while you're here. Normally you can get through the door before the thing will get to you, but just be aware because if you are trying to go through the door and you miss, which can happen sometimes, like, well, not that, that's not what I meant. If you're trying to go through the door and you accidentally get like this and you get stuck there for a moment, sometimes you can get hit because didn't go through it and then he can hit you. So just be extra careful there for that. I don't know if that's loud, I was just messing with something. I just realized that might have been really loud. Anyway, on the microphone. But, okay, so now we're gonna want to go through here. Okay, this spot's kind of tricky. So there's going to be these two statues, and they're going to shoot wind things. And I kind of messed this up on the run. Normally, you do not want to stall at all, because if they both are looking at you, they can both shoot, and it can be offset in weird timings where it basically covers the entire hallway and you can't strafe. You'll see what I mean. So you want to go right away while strafing. The only exception is if they're both looking away, you do want to stall a little bit so that they look towards you a bit. Otherwise, after you go past them, you'll have the same problem on the other side. So I'm going to try to demonstrate. So here, right, like that. So normally you'll shoot more than once. That was a weird sound. It was creepy. But right there, he shot, and you kind of just want to do a zigzag through that hallway as he shoots, but don't stop and wait until you feel comfy because if they both start shooting, you won't be able to dodge both of them. And then after you go, I like to turn around just in case so you can see, and then just like that. And then once you get in here, you're good. You actually want to go on the right side, this side here, but. You don't even really need to turn around from my experience. Usually you won't get hit running past, but uh, I don't know if this will give them different RNG, but do like that. That was a perfect demonstration. And there you go. So just know that if you get here, if you start going down this hallway and neither of them are looking at you, that seems like a good thing because you don't have to strafe, but it's actually not a good thing because that means both of them are looking this way. And that means when you're going through this hallway, they'll both be already ready to shoot instead of turning. So the reason you can normally just run past in this hallway, whoops, is because they have to turn before they can shoot. And so that gives you some extra time while they're still finishing turning and going back into attack mode. But if they're already facing this way, then they'll just be able to shoot right away. So just know about that. I lost a run there once. That's why I'm focusing on it so much. Okay, so now you're here. So I'm going to do that one more time just to demonstrate. Let's see, you don't even. Oh, you can also hear when they shoot, but really you don't even need to turn around. But you should probably. You don't really need to. Okay, so here, this part's actually really easy. Just go kind of on the right, and then you can always just go through this gap, and it's never a problem. That'll work every time. It's not even precise or anything. This part, there will be. Uh-huh. Wait, am I crazy? Am I thinking of a different? No, there normally will be an enemy or two in here, but usually they'll be off facing some random direction. You can just run past. I've never really had an issue in this room. It's weird that there's nobody in there. There's usually somebody in there. But anyway, here, there's a dragon. In theory, I believe you can just book it, but I would recommend against doing that because it's really sketchy and doesn't seem to work for me. I would recommend being very patient and don't even do what I just did. Don't even look at him. Stand behind this corner and just wait. And I lost a run or two here from being impatient, and it's super dumb. Just just wait. And you want to wait until he's moved over to the side. And then when you think you might have, just peek. Don't go for it, just peek. See like that? Now you can do the giant gap and you can just go and shine. But don't be impatient, and also don't go until you've peeked. I mean, like peeking around the corner. Then here's the other key that we're getting from Ent. If you didn't equip it yet, equip it now, because you're going to want it equipped for this next part. You're going to want to run back through here. Oh, these enemies here now this time. You'll see what I mean, though. You can just run around them. It's not a problem. This part, I'm going to save here. This part, these guys, I'm turning around to show you, but you don't need to turn around like this. They are not a problem. Actually, I'm going to hit by the wind, guys, but they won't hit you, so don't worry about that. Just go straight through. And then, wind thing, okay. This next part, unfortunately, is just RNG. There's no good way to deal with it. I've tried thinking of everything. If you can come up with something that's not ridiculously slow or long, that's great. But as far as I can tell, unless you do the Seath Sword route, which is a whole different can of worms, um, this is pretty much just RNG. You'll see why. Basically, the issue is that there's enemies in front of you and behind you. So if you go normally, which is what we do, sometimes you can get hit from behind and you can't strafe it because you can't see where it is. If you try turning around, not only is there guys in front of you, but you'll run into them and you'll get body blocked by them and you won't be able to move and you can't see where they are because you'll be facing backwards. So it's kind of an impossible situation. The best thing though is just to kind of go like this and just cross your fingers, or well, don't because you'll be holding a controller or whatever, but or keyboard or whatever, but just hope you don't get hit, and that's kind of the best you can do. Right there, I just got hit, so that would have been the run. Um, Once you cross past the last guy, you can turn around and dodge these manually. If you can find a better strategy for this part, please let me know. But as far as I'm aware, the best strategy is just try to listen to the audio cues. If you're far enough away, it won't make an audio cue. But really just kind of go, just hope for the best. That's about all you can ask for. You can kind of turn around a little early if you want to play it extra safe, be a bit more cautious, but that's about it. So there's that. Um, okay, so next, this part used to be originally a pretty sketchy part. I lost a couple of runs here, but I actually found a new strategy here that works pretty well. So this is where you're going to need the keys equipped, and you're going to want to be ready to press the button. I need to be in claw grip for that, like left-hand claw grip, because that's the share button on the PS4 controller. Um, but you want to be ready to press the key and sprint. So I'm in double claw grip. It's kind of funny. I like to stand here till he moves, and then go around to the right, and then just put them both in right away. And you can hear the sound effect to confirm that they're in. And you'll always manage to get those both in without getting hit because of their spawn locations. Now, my original strategy was basically just judge based on where they are, open the door, and try to get through. And that's tricky because when you open the door, you need to be looking at the door, meaning they're going to be behind you. So even if you try turning around, you can't judge where they are accurately, and that's going to be a mess because you can't open the door while looking at them. However, I found this strat where if you, instead of going to the door, run back to where you were before, it'll reset their spawns, but the keys stay in, meaning you'll have a more predictable situation to deal with and less weird RNG situations. So I'll show you. So running past them's pretty easy because their attack is very slow. I guess I should show. This is their only real attack. I think they might have a melee attack too, but that's their only real attack. So just um I'm stalling way more than they would just to show you, or way more than I would in a run just to show you, but just running past them is actually really easy. You're gonna want to go all the way back here to this corner. Then once you've done that, they'll be reset back to how they were before. They have a couple different RNGs they can do at the start here, but Siki moved right away. Now I just go straight for the door, do it, and then I missed the door. Okay, that's bad. Um, so if you miss the door like I just did, what I would recommend is not doing what I did. Just abandon it. That time I missed the door and then I tried going back for it. That was a bad idea. If you missed the door, abandon it and just do another loop. That's what I'd recommend. Um, but I guess this gives me another chance to show you. So there, I'm gonna be doing the keys again because that was my save state was. Look at them. Seems kind of sketchy. I did that bad actually. I should have been turning around as I ran past so I could see them. I could have gotten hit there if he attacked because I couldn't see. But I should have been turning my camera as I ran past them. Anyway, so now they're reset. You don't need to sit there and wait. I just was doing that anyway. But so go here. You don't even really need to wait for him to start turning. Open the door and then immediately turn the camera. Dodge this and then go through. Oh, whoops! I got stuck somehow on something. Um, yeah, I recommend testing that part a lot because it can be tricky and weird and sketchy. But with that strat, I actually found it's pretty consistent. Okay, now we're in the final bit. This is where I like to do my on-pace alert. Um, because I lost too many runs in that first part. So you could arguably do it at the castle, but anyway. So this part has a lot of weird things. First, I thought it was all just RNG, but I actually did a ton of testing here one night and actually found some consistent strats so that now this whole thing is actually pretty much almost 100% consistent. There's still some really weird situations that I don't even know what hit me sometimes, but first thing to note, on the first group of three, you want to go on the left gap, not the right gap. Trust me, it just works better. I used to go on the right gap, I got hit. Left gap is just easier. It's not a superstition thing either. It's a wider gap, you'll see. Because okay, so here, see the guy on the right spawns closer to you than the one on the left. So this type, the normal looking type, just spawns non-homing blue water balls, kind of like the tree guys. Then there's a red type that's holding its head that spawns these homing light beams. And there's a really neat thing with those that I'm going to demonstrate. So I'm going to load again to demonstrate this. Go on the left, and it'll work every time. There's going to be one more of these guys here. These always spawn in the same spot. One more there, just run past. That's all consistent, good, safe, fine. This next guy is one of the homing guys, and I'm going to demonstrate how this works. So there's the thing. Now look at this. I'm going to let him attack me. See that? So basically, okay, that time I ran to the wall, but basically, it can trigger on you, but the rate of expansion of the explosion is slower than your sprinting speed. Meaning if you're running away from it down the hallway, it can't hit you if you're going in a straight line. So the main issue that can cause it to hit you is if you're not going away from it, or if it curves around in a weird way and ends up in front of you. So I basically routed out this area to try to account for that, and I'm going to try to demonstrate what I found. So first, these guys, you kind of want to go in front of them and then go to the right last second. You don't need to turn around here, actually. You can. So that time he didn't shoot, but sometimes he will shoot. So for these guys, you sort of want to take a line. Actually, let me see. Can you see my mouse cursor if I do this? Yes, you can. Do you want to take a line from here to about here? I'm going to demonstrate that. I have an image. I might find a way to link in the description of this video to demonstrate. Applies a bit more to something later, but basically, the main danger with these homing things is when you're going around a corner and there's a specific way you want to go around the corner and hug the wall on the far side. Because if you don't, what can happen is it can home around you, track, and then hit the wall in front of you, and then you end up basically running into the explosion. So I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to do it the way I would on a run. And it's a bit of fast forwarding to get past this. So you want to go down the middle to get him to attack you. Okay, I'm just going to explain that. So the reason you want to go down the middle is so he starts by attacking, which makes him take longer to go into turn mode, so he's less likely to attack you. It doesn't really matter because this way should avoid the attack even if he does do it. But it's nice to have that in general. So go straight this way, and then go like that around this way, and you want to go near that corner because, again, like I said, if you don't, it can end up being weird and hit you. Go through this guy. Doesn't really matter. You can just run straight past. He's one of the blue attack ones. This door I found, or the corner, I mean, you want to go hug the inside because otherwise you can get hit from the blue water things from the guy behind you. So you just want to get through as quick as possible, which you can do by hugging the inside. And this is going to be a really long straight hallway. Since it's straight, you're pretty much invincible as long as you keep running. So the only issue that can really happen is if you get directly hit by a guy like right in front of him before you've even gotten past him. So I like just kind of going along this route, like this, kind of along the right side. And it's pretty much just a zero brain cell route. You don't need to do anything. Just go here. This is the last thing. So this guy, I'm gonna try to demonstrate. Um, so he didn't. So sometimes he just won't attack, but if you do get an attack, you want to go along the far wall because this is what you want to happen. Watch. There's the attack, like that. See, the issue is if I go in the middle of this hallway, it'll go. I can use my mouse. It'll go around this way, and it'll go around here. I'm in the middle, but it'll end up triggering behind me, doing a big explosion, but I can't outrun it because the explosion starts in front of where I'm moving. That's pretty much all the image. I don't even know if I would need to bother with the image because I just explained it pretty well, I think. But so basically, let me demonstrate here. So like that, you basically want to get it to hit you. Like not hit you, but you want to get it to trigger on you or the wall, but in front of where you're facing, behind where you're moving. So I'm gonna save here and then do this a couple times to demonstrate. I'm gonna try to demonstrate what you don't want. So let's get you to attack. If I go like this, okay, that time it didn't really work, or uh, the bad thing didn't happen. Okay, that time it went all the way around being a loop. That was kind of silly. It's pretty funny how you just don't get hit even though it's exploding in your face. Yeah, for some reason I can't get it to happen, but I swear it does happen. Um, I just need to trust me on this one. I guess maybe this whole thing is easier than I thought. Yeah, like that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Hopefully that made sense. Okay. So, once you get here, you're ready for the end. I'm gonna make it safe. So, this is the final boss. You probably know that already. Something to know, if you don't know it already. When you enter this arena, there's approximately 20% chance that he will simply hit you, and there's nothing you can do about it, because it's sort of similar to after you're leaving Zool's area, when you're getting the water magic. Zool Arafin, I think, in Lake Noel, and you can't move, but the game is not paused. So if that happens, the only strategy you can use is called the reset strategy, where you reset the whole game and start again from the beginning. Um, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, I'm not just kidding, but there is one possible thing to do, which is what I mentioned before, which is the Seath Sword route. First of all, that requires getting the Key of Icarus, which is a whole bunch of farming for the level 3x selector. Requires a whole different route because you need to get all the seals of Icarus, as well as you can't sell the X selector. And then you also need to fight Meryl Orr, which is a whole nother thing. And then basically doing a whole different run. And then the thing on top of that is arguably it's kind of like blocking. So you could argue that it's not even allowed in Hitless in the first place. But if you are interested in that, after this guide, I'm planning on testing for True Ending. And for that run, I'm going to use a Seath Sword route. So you could take a look at that, and maybe if you do want to use that route, if anybody ends up going for Trilogy, Kingsfield Trilogy, if that's even possible, I don't know about Kingsfield 2 yet. I think I'm leaning towards it's possible with Seath's Sword. But if you're doing that, I might recommend doing a Seath's Sword route for this game, because you don't want to deal with dying to Alfred RNG. But, oh well. Anyway. This fight is mostly going to be arrows. You can use fireballs too, but I find the best strategy involves a lot of sprinting, and fireballs require no sprinting, obviously, so your magic can regen. The only other thing I'll mention before going in is if you ever get too far away from him, you can do this white orb attack, and it's undodgeable. If he does that attack, the run's over. No matter what. So don't get too far away from him, but also don't worry about that too much, because I believe part of the reason I died in that one run that I died to this boss, which is the first time I got here. I lost basically because I was being too cautious about going far away, and I ended up not being able to see him, and I was in a weird spot, and then I got hit. And I think if I had just moved a bit further away, I would have been able to handle the situation better. So my point is, it's kind of lenient. Don't worry about that too much, so to the extent that it gets you killed. Anyway, I'm just going to go in and start demonstrating some things. There's a lot of different ways to handle this fight. I'm going to try to show off a few of them, and then I'll start with the one that I ended up going with. But it's kind of going to be up to you. You can do some testing and choose whatever you like the most. Okay, let's see if I get the RNG. Okay, I got good RNG. So, this is basically the strategy I like. Attack, sprint. Only attack while he's attacking and you're on his side. And it's pretty much just going to be a back and forth. Sometimes you can get in 2 attacks like right there I did. I missed one, but I got 2 attacks. Also, know that the arrows have a very lenient hitbox, so you can kind of miss and still hit. This is basically the strategy I liked the most. It's sort of just a nice back and forth, but since you're going to be sprinting constantly, you won't really be able to use magic. Okay, if that happens, where you can't see him, I like to kind of back up a bit. I'm going to try to demonstrate a few other things. So if you look, he's very slow with his attacks and wind-ups. So I'm doing this now without sprinting. So I could use fireballs. You can do it without sprinting, and it does work pretty well. It just feels a little sketchy, and sometimes if you get overconfident, you can get caught by his sword before you have the time to go away. That attack is what I'm talking about. Mainly, but really any of the attacks. And so you can do this strategy and get some fireballs in. And it is higher damage. But I like to just kind of... And also if you do that and you ever get in a spot where you're really in front of him, you can kind of do a bit of a sprint without losing all your magic stamina, so that you don't have to get the penalty. See, there I lost it all. The other strategy that I'll show you is sort of the speedrun strategy, which is if you try to stay close, it's really hard to do. I'm kind of bad at it. But if you try to stay close, you can try to do this rapid fire arrow thing. Sort of like I did in the Forest of Art at the start of the run. I'm pretty bad at it, but like that. See, I messed it up when I got hit. But I'd recommend checking out the speedrun for that. Anyway, now I'm gonna show you the bat attack. So imagine you're fighting him, whatever, you get kind of far away. Well now he's not even looking at me. So if you get far away, he can do, not that attack. Do what I mean? It's very lenient. You can get far away and just have him happen to not do it. So don't worry too much about going far away. But okay, I'm surprised he's not doing it. I'm genuinely surprised he's not doing it. That attack. If he does that, you can't dodge it. It's literally undodgeable. Also, this it's like an infinite arena, which is pretty crazy. Like, why didn't they bring this up? I dodged it. I guess you can technically dodge it if you're really far away, but like, it's somehow looping. I think because he'll like suddenly be behind you if you do this. Be like that. He's like behind me. Anyway, but I wish they brought this back for Elden Ring, like Renala and Elden Beast, and then also the Night Rain Night Lords. Like, why do we have to deal with the invisible walls on the outside of the arena? It's kind of dumb. Anyway. Okay, don't do that. See, that's why I like my safe strategy, because that's the sort of thing that can happen if you're getting too like overconfident. But anyway, yeah, this is about it. So once you kill him, that's about it for the run. Um, it's a long fight though, so I'm gonna do a full fight now just to demonstrate. See if anything else comes up to talk about. Once the other thing I will say is, if you remember earlier in the run, we put a bunch of arrows in storage. And oh, and I also should talk about what do I say? I should talk about what you do if you can't see him. But anyway, I put a bunch of arrows in storage. So during this fight, you will run out of arrows, and then when that happens, you just gotta pull them from storage. Don't worry, inventory pauses the game. See, so it's also nice because it's like a phase 2. His moveset doesn't change, but it's like a phase 2, you know? So it's like a little pause in the fight. It's a long fight. You gotta be very patient. In theory, you could do stuff to make this a shorter fight, I guess, but I don't know what you would even do. Like, get a different weapon, but I don't know what weapon would make sense to get. Farm levels, but from what? That's a question I have for the true ending run. I'm still not 100% sure where I'm gonna farm. I'm thinking Passage of Thieves or whatever. The skeletons in there, but with the what's it called? The Silence Rod from Lynn. Anyway. Okay, so like this. I can't see him. I like to kind of get far away, not too far because then he'll do the undodgeable attack. But one thing to know, if he starts doing a weird thing and you can't see him, you can do the sort of 180 look the other direction. That can fix it sometimes. But it can also feel very sketchy. So, yeah. But just make sure you're sprinting and kind of just hope you're survived, and that's about it. Try to imagine in your head where he is in that situation, so you don't get hit. Just like try to imagine where he'd be. But yeah, it's pretty much just a long endurance fight. And it's honestly pretty easy. The only thing that makes it difficult is how long it is. If this was a shorter fight, it would be barely worth talking about. Also, that's that thing I was talking about earlier in the run with the joysticks, because I have it remapped. Oh, whoops. Sometimes that can happen where you end up going inside him. It's kind of weird, but like normally as a like a model hitbox where you can't go inside him, but then sometimes I don't know what happens to trigger it, but you can just go inside him. Oops, I did the thing again. It's because of the way I'm holding the controller with my thumb, sort of on the thumbstick in a way that's kind of half up. Oh, see, there I'm out of arrows, see that? And there's also a different sound effect, so I'm gonna go to storage. Oh, hello. Oh, just for context, I got the run actually, 3 days ago. I'm making a guide now. So, uh, shout out to Doma Mosh, and now he's perpetually in this guide for all of eternity. He's a cool mech streamer. Yeah, and also shout out to Sense and Bonnie. Um, yeah, they're now immortalized in this guide. I forgot to get my arrows. Um, okay, there we go. Yeah, this is the final boss. I'm pretty much done with the guide. I'm just finishing the boss fight just because, but really I've already explained everything there is to say about it, and it's a long fight, so I'm just kind of finishing it out. But really, that's the guide. I guess shoutouts also to I'm Jacked. I don't know how he says it, but um, he's an insane Kingsfield speedrunner YouTuber, kind of the only one that exists. He has a Discord server and everything. And the reason I'm shouting him out specifically is he's the only other person who's done this run before. He did use some glitches and also some insanely difficult strategies that I could never do in a million years. Specifically one in the Passage of Death. I don't understand how he did it so casually and effortlessly. But I did copy a lot of his route and use it as sort of a base for mine. I changed a lot of things, partly because of the no glitches, but still, huge shout out to him for everything. Also, shout out to Anubis for all the help, and also trying to help even though he doesn't know much about this game because he hasn't played it yet. And also, if you don't know who Anubis is, Anubis 520 is working on Armored Core 6 Hitless, which is an insane run. And he currently has done every chapter hitless. PB is not Smart Cleaner, is Sea Spider, and his number PB is 7, and 7 and going down. Hopefully, he's been working on it forever. It's a super crazy run. And then also shout out to Nuke-san, because I don't know, he's cool, and he hangs out sometimes, and he's been playing Kingsfield recently, and he might do this run. So if you're ever watching this, Nuke, shout out to you. I'm kind of rambling because I'm trying to find stuff to talk about because this fight is long. But yeah, and shout out to Kemikemo for getting the first Kingsfield 1 hitless run, an insane run that I plan to do someday, probably will be using his route. And also, shout out to Kemikemo for being the one who offered to use this guide and partially inspired it. And if you're listening to this right now, shout out to you for also having the most insane list of hitless accomplishments I've ever seen. And anything. Like, the number of games that are on your bio is actually insane. So, yeah, and good luck on your runs. And I don't know who else to shout out at this point. Um, oh, looks like I don't need to, because the run is over. With him falling face first on the ground, the world is not saved because this is the bad ending. And as we will see, that little shadow behind the throne is the shadow of Seath, the
Prince Lyle had
Scaleless.
fulfilled his destiny,
I'll let
or
the
so he
narrator
thought.
take us
After
out.
the destruction of the former Holy King, Austin Lyle Forrester succeeded his father to the throne of Verdite and was crowned as the new king. The people were once again happy, and Lyle had the promise to be the greatest king that Verdite had ever known. However, Lyle's eyes were lacking in vitality, and his stare was cold. It is just as it was when the former king had changed, so dramatically.
What's that? If you want to actually save the kingdom, you gotta do the true ending run. Or I like to call it the good ending run, because true ending is silly. There's no true, who knows what true ending, what does that even mean? But it's definitely a good ending compared to this one. So I'm going to be starting work on that soon. I think that about wraps it up. Um, so yeah, shout out to all these guys in the credits for making this game and From Software. And I don't know, who else do we give shout outs to? Shout out to Happy Hob for basically inventing Hitless. Shout out to all the people that you've ever heard of for existing. I don't know why I'm giving so many shout outs. I'm just in a shout out mood. Um, and shout out to the end of this guide. The end.